Hello everyone and welcome to episode 23 of Trapped in My Mind. I'm your host, Seth, and today with me, an old childhood friend. It's like deja vu.
Yeah.
Anthony.
Yeah.
I can ask you the same question.
Go for it.
So, I'll just let the people know, because it's part of the flaws. We tried recording this, and I realized I didn't push record on one of the lines, so the first 2 minutes of this will be rehearsed. But that part was new, because it didn't happen before. So anyway, I'll pretend like I didn't ask you this.
Sure.
Anthony or Tony?
Okay. Completely unrehearsed. I like Anthony better. In high school, I used to go by Tony. Well, I think he started in middle school. Middle school started in Tony.
I was going to say, I feel like as kids you like Tony.
Yeah, I switched to Tony because it was just easier to write on papers. You know, Anthony, Tony, less words, less letters. And then eventually, when I got to sophomore year, I just started going by Kehoe. And then I went back to Anthony because I'm like, okay, I don't have to write Anthony anymore.
I can type it if I want now.
Exactly.
Did anyone ever call you Ant?
Oh, of course.
The ladies?
No.
The guys called you Ant.
Yeah, you got the fucking short names. You know.
I only had one name.
Well, yours is 4 letters long. No one's calling you S.
Well, Tony's 4.
Yeah, but my original name isn't 4 letters.
You know what? Call me Set.
Set.
S-E-T.
League of Legends character.
Just like, legalize a character?
League of Legends character.
Oh. Is that a name? Is that somebody's name? Set?
Yeah.
Okay. It's lost on me.
He's pretty cool, too. He's a big buff dude.
Wow.
He's a fighter.
Can't say I'm, I try. I work out a little bit, but I don't even know where this is going now. Okay, well, going to business. One of the things you wanted to talk about, which I think is interesting, not taking ourselves too seriously, and I think that could go a lot of different ways. So, when you brought that one up, what were you thinking?
So I have a good example of it, of what I mean by not taking yourself too seriously. So, in the male scene...
M-A-L-E, right?
Yeah, like men.
Not like mailman. M-A-I-L, right?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
In the male scene, men, often you have to be, or you want to be looked at like just tough, you're bad and whatever, and you have no emotions, and that nothing bothers you. Which isn't the case, and I don't think should be normalized at all. It's very rare to see people who can make fun of themselves, and be okay with it. I saw a TikTok the other day, and it was of these 2 dudes. I think Big Mike, I think, is the TikToker.
Okay.
And he's a big buff black dude,
okay.
Just ripped out of his mind. And it was the original TikTok was, what are you gonna do if I break into your house?
Okay.
And then there's I think it's a duet or something, or I don't know if it's just another TikTok that I don't know how it works. I'm not on TikTok.
Not a big TikTok guy.
I'm not on TikTok, but I'm on iFunny, which is it filters the bad TikToks and puts it into there so I can see the good ones. So it pans over to this other guy, and he's essentially making gay jokes, saying oh, I'm gonna wine and dine you, and then I'm gonna
69 you.
Yeah, it's basically, and then the original guy, the big buff dude, duetted it or whatever,
back
responded to it and was like, oh, you're having a long night, I'm gonna make you bite on a pillow,
yeah,
and
keep going with the joke.
Yeah, I kept going with it, and it's you see this guy who obviously is fucking ripped, and he doesn't need he doesn't need to verify that, or he just can make fun of himself and go with a joke of being gay, and there's nothing. It's another thing. It's there's nothing wrong with being gay. So to joke around about it, what's wrong with it? And a lot of people have views the guy like guys make like friends will always be like pretend to be gay or whatever.
Yeah.
Push those boundaries and the are they gay? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But when you see like random strangers doing that, it's a bit different because you can see that they're not taking themselves seriously. They're not like making themselves look like they need to be tough or anything like that. Like they can go with the jokes and make fun of themselves, which in my mind is a very good thing, and I wish that a lot of people had more of that trait. Like I'm a firm believer that if you can't make fun of yourself, you cannot make fun of anybody else.
Okay.
Granted, I don't think making fun of other people is good, but like to toss jokes, even if they're friends, like to toss jokes towards them. I don't think you should be able to do that if you can't make fun of yourself. Like if you can't take a joke, you can't dish jokes. It's just as simple as that. It's not fair.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because I was actually before Steven came on, my brother. We were talking about like in a perfect world, we wouldn't be making fun of people, right? But it's almost like, especially in a group of guys. I don't know, I've never been in a scene where it's just girls because I'm not a girl. I don't identify as one. Have to specify that. That's just a joke. Fuck. Oh, so when it's just guys, right? There's like this weird thing where it's like, even though if I was by myself and I saw this person, I wouldn't be like, oh, fuck that person. Like, for example, if me and you are at a bar or whatever, we see like somebody who, maybe looks a certain way, like, oh, look at that fucking loser. Like, he's at the bar by himself, whatever. Like, if I was by myself, I would never like think of those things. I never say those things, but it's almost like if we're in a group of guys, someone who says something that like makes himself like seem funny, it's like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, it's like a weird we're trying to be like, that's a way to be macho. It's like making the first joke of somebody that's not in your group.
I don't think it's so much as making them feel macho as much as some people just, that's their humor, right? Like some people have light humor and then some people have dark humor. I view myself as somebody who likes dark humor. It's got me in trouble before, for sure.
Likewise.
I actually have a fond memory of when it's not really a dark. This is like one of the lighter dark jokes. Back in middle school, actually, I got suspended for making a joke, and it wasn't like a joke. Like I was making fun of somebody, and they knew I was making fun of somebody. It was somebody who told on me for making a joke to somebody else.
Okay. And
the only reason that they told on me was due to the fact that I didn't want to date them. And I don't know, it didn't make sense at all to me why that was. And it still doesn't, but like, I mean, other than just immaturity, right? But I made a joke to somebody as I said, some dude on their knees, and I was they're on their knees, their natural position. Mm-hmm. And they end up telling the principal on me for that, and I end up getting out of suspension, and I almost charged with sexual harassment.
Yeah,
I'm like, what?
That's another thing that I think. And I hate talking about it when it's just two guys because I know how that can be a biased perspective. But like, how is something like that sexual harassment? Did somebody?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think clearly their intent was just to get me in trouble, to get back at me for not wanting to date them. But like, I mean, I could have that could have ruined my life, right?
Yeah.
Like that could have been it. Like in middle school, one record? Joke, yeah, one joke, and if like I'm a sexual predator. No one's looking at why I am. They just see I am. Yeah. And some middle school joke could have literally ruined my life. And so, like, that was...
Yeah, that's... I mean, especially in today's climate. But, so going back to... You said you have dark humor. You think sometimes guys in a group will make those jokes just because that's your humor. Yeah. But would you, if you're by yourself, would you make those same jokes to yourself, though?
I think in my head.
You think so?
I think so. It's just because... that's just how my brain works, right? So those are just jokes that make me laugh. I don't think I would like. Sometimes it can feel forced where I'm like actively looking for something like that. So I don't think it would happen as often. But I mean, there's thoughts that go through my head like what the fuck, like what is this bitch doing? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe because I don't really think about it that I think I do because of how it's just natural to me. But
So, let me frame it up this way.
sure.
So if you're by yourself, maybe you make that joke in your head, but it kind of comes and goes pretty quickly. As where if you're with friends,
It's
it will
not
just
lingering.
keep.
So here's a good example of that. I was at Buffalo Wild Wings with my friend Dylan, and we were watching this Miley Cyrus. It was like a halftime show or something.
Okay.
And we we just started making jokes, and like it just for 25 minutes straight, we were just making jokes one after another about her, and none of them were the same jokes. It was just over and over and over again. So obviously, if like I was alone, that would have stopped after like the first joke.
Yeah.
In my head. So I mean, in that extent, sure. You know, but I guess in a group setting, it just amplifies it, right?
Yeah. So do you think like so let's say we're hanging out and I make the joke, you're gonna want to try to add on to it?
Yeah, I'll piggyback off of that.
Yeah. So it can become toxic because I would agree with you in saying people need to be able to take jokes about themselves, and honestly, you need to be able to make jokes about themselves. I would agree with that, and maybe it's because I have older brothers who always fucking gave me jokes. But point being, I think there are some scenarios like, for example, if you made a joke about me, wouldn't really care. But if like I overheard a bunch of people I didn't know making jokes about me, that might not make me feel so good. But I do that all the time.
Sure, but I'm not. So what I'm saying, like, you make fun of somebody, it's not, you're doing very discreetly. I mean, like as impolite as it is to make fun of somebody, you're being polite enough, courteous enough to make sure they're not hearing it.
Yeah.
I think that's a key. But like, some friendships are just based off of that, right?
Fuck yeah.
Like some friendships are just based off of making fun of other people or whatever, But like I'm a strong believer that if you're not making fun of yourself, you shouldn't be doing that because like that's just it's not fair.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's the same thing with like, and I said this on I think it was with episode with Carla. Same thing with gossiping. Like, I try not to gossip as much, but I would be lying if I said I don't. With that being said,
I think it's
like,
impossible not to gossip.
Okay, with that being said,
human nature.
But I'm cognizant of the fact that people probably say shit about me, and you know what? I don't know it. And if I do find out, yeah, is it unfortunate, but I'm not going to fucking cancel the person because of it. I'm not.
Yeah.
But people do. And the one thing I will say that I think is really fucking annoying, and I'm speaking in general terms, is like, so you admit that you will make fun of some people sometimes, as do I, discreetly, and not with bad intent. The thing that bothers me is like when there's people that are like, oh, they're wrong for saying that. I don't make fun of people. It's like, no way, dude.
Yeah.
Like, and maybe I'm just so blinded because all the people I know, whether it be close friends, family, peers, like, that aren't even really my friends, everyone's, like, made jokes about people. So it is, like, one of those things where it's, like, we don't really like to admit that we do them because maybe they're a little bit shameful, but at the same time, it's part of what makes us human.
Sure. And I think you can make some cases where, because there's some people who just don't talk very much. Some people are just kind of keep to themselves. And I feel like maybe those people, but maybe they don't speak it. Maybe they have like thoughts like how I do when I'm by myself. But I don't think that. I think majority of people do.
Yeah, I don't know.
Make the jokes.
I'd be interested to hear if somebody has a different opinion than that. But in the same regard, and why I think I'm having a stroke right now because I just literally lost it. But let me see if I can rope it back in. We were saying, so this isn't what I was gonna say, but that thought has left my body.
Sure.
But going back to what we were saying before, because it is very weird, and maybe if we talk it out loud, I can understand it. Guys, if people don't know this, guys make gay jokes with their friends, like
all the time.
Like, oh, nice cock.
Yeah,
like,
all the time.
Okay, and maybe it's not just as blunt as that, but I think lots of times it is.
Yeah. And
I really don't know why that is, because
no idea.
So, I will say for me, I support like LGBTQ rights, and I have no problem with anybody gay or straight or anything in between. Then the whole spectrum, and I would say from my knowledge, my friends are kind of the same belief. So why do we use that? It's like a weird, like almost innate thing that we use that as like a topic of making fun of people as like, oh, if they're gay. But then really, if they are, like, if you kept making fun of me for being gay and then I come out as gay, you're probably not going to care. So why do we do that, you know?
So I think South Park did a very good job of this. And I don't think people look at it enough, or look at it as much as I feel like they should. They should look at this as kind of an understanding. So the making fun of somebody, like saying, oh, they're gay, or oh, that's gay, has lost its meaning from what it originated as just, homosexual. In South Park, they make fun of. There's an episode where they make fun of motorcyclists and they call them faggots, and obviously it's a controversial word. But like
I'm kids, so it's sorry.
The kids are saying it, and they keep calling these motorcyclists faggots. And there's another character on the show called Big Gay Al. Have you not watched South Park?
No, I haven't, dude.
Oh man,
I just can't hide my face right now.
It's fine. So, well, anyway, okay, it was supposed to be funny, right? So you're laughing at it. It's supposed to be funny. So, he ends up. Well, the kids are like doing this huge banner because like they're making fun of, or not making fun of, but like they're annoyed by the motorcyclists because like they just, a lot of motorcyclists will just rev their fucking engine for no fucking reason just to be loud and obnoxious. And so like they want to get them out of the town, so like they like do this giant banner of saying like "Get out of town, faggots," and then the Big Gay Al, which all the kids are friends with, are like, well, why would you guys do this? And they're like, do what? And then like, why would you say faggot? Like that's they're like, because he's a faggot. And then he's like, do you guys not know what that means? And then they're like, he explained what the original meaning of faggot is, and they're like, that's not what we mean. We mean like if you're being loud, obnoxious, motorcyclist, you're a faggot. And so like and they did a very good job of like explaining how words change, gay. So if you're calling someone gay, like if I ever call someone gay, I'm not calling them homosexual. Like it's just a word that's been around for me forever, and it just means like you're doing something dumb.
Well, and you're not saying it with negative connotation. Like,
no.
If you were gay, fuck you.
No, I like I said, I have gay friends. I have nothing wrong with gay people. Like I have family members that are gay. Like I have no problem with that. Like I don't like it. I'm happy you're happy, right? Mm-hmm. So like I'm not, when I call someone gay, like I'm not calling them gay as a homosexual. I'm calling them just, so like it's like a different meaning now. And like I feel like with, especially with 2021, like how everybody's like the LGBTQ, all that, like being huge supporters of that. I feel like people like understand, well, don't understand. Like I don't know, it's like a mixed thing where like people like will say those words and then but not mean them the way that you were, put in the dictionary.
Oh yeah, I mean, even just listening you talk about that, I have a few different thoughts, and
sure.
Again, I hope it doesn't paint me in a bad light, but I will share them anyway.
You can always cut them out if you know.
No, I will. I'll keep it.
Just kidding.
I could though. You're right. So maybe you won't see this, but it's weird. So when you were telling the story of like South Park using faggots and gay, yeah, I laughed, but for some reason, I don't know why. I feel kind of guilty, and I don't, and I really don't know why, because I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I feel like I shouldn't laugh at that because maybe it's because society's taught me that that's not a word we're supposed to use.
Sure.
Even though, like yourself, if I say something, if I call somebody a faggot, or if I do this, it's not because, for one, I'm not calling them gay or homosexual, and I'm not meaning it with bad intent. It's just kind of like weird or whatever.
Yeah. So that kind of loops back with the whole not taking yourself too seriously. So like,
yeah.
So if someone is obviously saying, and you like, especially if you know the person, and they're saying like, oh, you're gay, and like, but not in a homosexual way, and you know it, and you getting offended of that just to get offended by it, it's just like, come on, man. Like, it's not like it. I just feel like people take themselves too seriously, and they can't like look back and at the greater thing of it, or just look back and and like know that they're not calling me gay or like homosexual or whatever. Like I feel like more people are okay with homosexuality than not, and I could be wrong. There's no statistics. I don't have any statistics on that, but I just feel like, especially with like how progressive we've becoming, as a country, for the most part, I feel like, I mean, don't get me wrong, there are definitely people who will use the term faggot as homosexual or call people gay because they're homosexual. I'm not discrediting that. I'm not saying that that's not a thing. But I feel like for the most part.
Yeah. And I agree. And I think people do get offended just to get offended. And again,
cancel culture.
So I will say this without fear of some certain people thinking that I've changed.
Sure.
But I actually mean it. I feel like I almost feel like I don't have, I almost feel like I don't have a right to talk about this unless there's somebody gay joining this conversation. And I don't know why. I
totally would be, like, if you ever wanted to do some sort of episode where we had, a gay person, 100% would be down to have a conversation. The thing is, I have gay friends. I've had this conversation with them, and for the most part, they understand. I think, like, faggot is still a huge thing where they don't like it, and I think that word is used way, way less.
Yeah, I haven't heard that word in a long time.
So, like, maybe that's why. Maybe it's just because you're what's the word? Desensitized. Because people are desensitized with gay. I feel like more so than obviously faggot.
Yeah, that one has more of like a sharp.
Sure. So
undertone.
I would totally be down to have a conversation with that. Maybe they can shed some light to me about that. But I mean, I've talked to other gay people, and it's like they're like, "Oh yeah, you're just calling them gay." Like, it's not. I know what you mean by that, because I have gay friends who literally call other people gay.
Yeah,
and because they understand, like, it's not the word has changed, man. Like the world changes, and like it's not. I'm not saying it's just that word that's changing. Like swag changed from what it is now to like it used to be an actual word.
Yeah,
like swagger and stuff like that, and it's just like, I mean, that's a kind of like a not completely 50-50 shot.
Yeah,
but like. I don't know. I just feel like if people are adapting to other things, like we were in the 1970s, gay people were not like as widely accepted as they are now.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if we're able to accept gay people more now, like I feel like they can accept, people should be able to accept, things like that changing.
Yeah, but so the one thing I'll say is, just because we think that gay people feel more accepted now, if gay people don't think that they're more accepted now than they were, well, then there's a mismatch,
I think it's very hard to say that from 1970 to now that gay people aren't more accepted.
Or so maybe they feel like they're more accepted but not accepted enough. And so we might think like, oh, we're doing a good job because me and you are, and the things we see are. But if
Sure.
somebody who's like gay or in the gay community doesn't see it that way, well, then there's a disconnect. So it's like, for me, it's hard to speak on it,
Yeah, so I'm not discrediting it. I'm not saying that being gay or,
mm-hmm.
any variance of that is easy. I'm not saying it's easier.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a white, straight male.
Yeah.
I'm living an easy life. Like, that's just, I mean, that's kind of fucked up to say, but that is true. Like, I don't have to worry about, getting a girlfriend, then having taken them home with my mom or my dad, and like having them think about what was going on, or like having that conversation,
mm-hmm.
Of coming out of the closet. Like, I'm not discrediting that. I'm not saying that it's easier, like, to be gay now than it being straight or whatever. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying in general, from 1970, where you literally were denounced from your family for being gay, to now, which there are still cases of being denounced from your, I just think it's significantly less. Like for me, like if I have kids and they're gay, I would be more upset that they did not tell me that they're gay
mm-hmm.
than if they were to hide it from me. I think I'm obviously gonna be accepting of that. of them being gay. Like, I have no problem with that. Nothing like, that doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah, no, and I mean, and I don't think that's what you're saying. Like, I don't think like you sounded bad, and I've also personally know you, and I know you don't give a fuck what somebody is or isn't. It's so weird for me to speak on things because I've been told, and maybe that's why. Is because I will speak on something as my opinion, and then somebody from that group of what I was talking about says, well, you can have an opinion, but you shouldn't speak with so much conviction until you have somebody that represents that opinion. For example, on episode 3, me and Eric talked about Chris Leah's like sexual harassment case and like kind of a man's perspective.
Sure.
And rightly so, a female messaged me and said, they weren't like coming at me saying, "Oh, fuck you," like you can't have an opinion, but they said, "I feel like this episode was a little bit biased," and I get that. And so that's the only reason why, and I think we should still be able to say our opinions.
Sure.
So I appreciate the conversation, but it's so weird because I never thought that way before. I was always one to just fucking, here's my opinion, which I think still has its place. But I still feel kind of guilty, like, well, you're right. There's no one gay here, so am I allowed to speak? Which perhaps is a problem in and of itself. But it's not just like gay. There's a couple words. Gay, retarded has a really bad connotation now, and I'm not going to say, the N-word.
I think, okay, that's another thing I'm huge on.
But I feel really uncomfortable talking about that as two white guys. But if you want to speak...
Okay, so I've had experiences where I've talked to black coworkers about this. It kind of goes with the whole gay thing. Because I don't know if you know Louis C.K.
Yeah.
He had a very controversial one where he said saying the N-word is as bad as saying... I'm not gonna say it for your show purposes, but like I think if you're saying the word, like saying faggot while just talking about the word, I think there shouldn't be any negative feelings towards someone just saying the word than like, so if I'm explaining it to you. So instead of me saying the N-word twice to explain what I'm trying to talk about, saying it once, to explain it. I don't think he said that, granted this is a comedian, so like, take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, always.
But he said that it's as saying the N-word, like THE,
yeah,
the N-word, and then saying the actual N-word is equally as bad, because you are putting the word in that person's head and they're saying it, like in their head. So like you're just getting away with it, with saying it, and like so like I think like having a conversation like this, being able to say the actual word to explain it, it shouldn't be damned.
Yeah.
For saying it. And I think that even like I had a conversation with, like I said, the black guy, a black coworker, and I told him, like, I started this conversation because we had like a long drive. I was working at Stanley Steamer, and we had a long drive, and I was like, because you have to get close to somebody before you can talk about something that's that touchy.
Fair.
And I started the conversation with saying, I want to talk to you about something serious. Tell me immediately if I'm stepping on any toes, and I'll stop. And I also want to preface this with saying, like, I don't understand the struggles of a black person. And then I started talking to him and asking him about, like, pretty big topics, like, about cops and stuff like that, and how he feels. And granted, like, one person's not speaking for millions.
Yeah.
But to get insight from one, it's like one person, it's just, it does you good.
Yeah.
Kind of like how,
it offers you perspective.
Exactly. And you're not going to get perspective from talking to another white person. So, like, I've gotten close with several black people at that job, and I talked to a couple of them about it, and they always ended with, like, the way you brought this up was very respectful, and I appreciate you trying to figure out, like, what the struggles of us.
Yeah. It is. Sorry, go ahead.
And one of the things was, this was very mixed, so that's another reason why I'm not going to say it on the podcast is that they, even when not like directly calling somebody the N-word, they still feel like it shouldn't be said. But there's also, it was like I said, it was a 50-50. Like, they were like, yeah, like if you're talking to somebody about it, and you're trying to explain what was happening, like, I don't see an issue with that. So it's like, that's kind of how the whole, people message you about, because I guarantee you say how that one girl messaged you about how it's not, I think it's a little biased and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you it's not that. I don't think it's one girl that watches your podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one person.
Yeah, of course.
So like, I think, like, how there's 50-50 for, like, saying the N-word, like, it's also with, that. Like, I don't think you're never gonna you're never please everybody. It's impossible. And so I feel like no matter what you say, someone's gonna take it wrong. Someone's gonna take it negatively, even if you mean in good intentions. Like, so that's kind of how I view that. So, like, I know that like, the whole N-word is a huge controversial topic, and I don't think ever you should say it to somebody in a negative way. If you're talking about the word, in my opinion, granted I'm white, I don't really have an opinion, I think you should be able to say it. I think if you're just having the conversation of talking about the word,
yeah,
I think that should, like, it seemed, and there's another one of one of my online friends. He thinks that saying autism is, there's never an appropriate time to say someone has autism.
Like, he's offended by that?
Not him. He just knows that, like, somebody else will be, but somebody else will be offended by everything, right? It's like, you're never gonna find something that's not offensive to somebody. There's too many people in the world. There's, everybody comes from different backgrounds. And I even asked him, I'm like, so even in a medical, like, a doctor talking to, let's say, like, a woman just gave birth, kid has autism. Should the doctor avoid saying autism? Like, that your child has autism? And he even said yes. And that just, like, blows my mind, because, like, it's not like he's calling him dumb or, whatever other words. He's giving you the medical,
terminology.
Yeah, and he said that that's still not okay. And I'm like, well, what would you use? Like, how would you tell them? And then he kind of, like, did this back roads answer.
Politics answer.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, I guess, but, like, I don't think that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is the terminology you use. Autism is a thing. That is a a mental disability. And to dismiss that and just say that just because people are using it in a negative way now,
mm-hmm.
that you can't use it at all, I think is dumb. I think that is not to not be able to use it even in a medical. It just seems very extreme.
Yeah, I mean, it is weird how we as a society create such a taboo around certain words because a large group of people, or maybe in the grand scheme of things, a small group of people voice a loud opinion about not using a certain word, whether it be the N-word, retarded, faggot, whatever. Because I would agree, my personal opinion is, if you're not saying it with harsh intent, what's the problem? Like, if we want to discuss a word or a topic that involves a word and we're not doing it hatefully or at somebody, I personally believe, like yourself, that should be okay. But it's weird because even though I know that's my belief, I also know the society we're in, and I feel like I have pressure to not talk about that because, like yourself, and it's unfortunate you said it. You said, I'm a white man, so I don't have an opinion. And I hate even saying this, but it's like, you have an opinion. Perhaps your opinion doesn't have as much perspective as somebody of color who would be speaking about it.
And that's more or less what I meant.
I know, but lots of times, and not just for this scenario, but different scenarios, if people, and like I said, I can't talk about gay unless there's somebody gay here. It's because, well, I have to throw out my opinion. And it's like, I wish we could change that to, okay, here's my opinion. I'm open for perspective. But it's always like, here's my opinion, and if it's wrong to you, well then fuck me. You know what I mean? It's like I wish we didn't have to walk on eggshells with everything we said.
Exactly.
And we could, understand that I think in general people say things with either good intentions or intentions not thinking about the negative consequences, because having to function and operate in daily life and in conversation, literally thinking about, okay, what can I and can I not say is exhausting. But again, is me saying that a very small, grain of sand compared to the exhaustion that groups that face, adversity feel? I don't know.
And I think the way to get past that starts with just not taking yourself seriously.
Okay, full circle.
Full circle.
Yeah. Well, so I mean, how do you?
Because so this is how. So I've had a rough past. I've self-harmed. I've attempted. I've gone to the hospital for it. All of that. I'll make fun of that. I make fun of that about myself. That's a serious thing. It's a serious thing I went through, I tried taking my own life, but I'm joking about it. Like, I can take a serious moment in my life, a crucial point of my life, and turn it into a joke. Because I don't take myself that seriously. This is a semi-bad joke, but one of my friends wanted to get a tattoo of a gas mask. Saying I survived 2020. I mean, whatever, cool. But I was drunk and I was like, oh, you know what? You're right. I survived 2014. Like all my fucking scars on my arm. And I started going down as a joke. I made that joke. That's not something that's for most people. That's not something that you want to talk about. You don't it's just. For me, the longest time, my scars were very embarrassing, and I hated them. But, I mean, they're on my fucking arm. I'm not gonna be able to hide it forever. And you gotta, at a certain point, there's flaws of you that you have to just embrace, because they're not going anywhere. And that's kind of one of them. And then, once you accept those things, it's easier to just not be offended by everything. For the most part, I would like to believe that I'm not offended by most things. There are gonna be certain things that offend me, but for the most part, you can say what you want to me, and I'm like, okay, cool, all right, yeah, or make a joke towards me. I'm laughing with you, or I'll add on to that joke of making fun of me. I think that's a perspective that I wish most people had, because I don't know. There's too much. There's things I want to I guess, whatever. I think gay people should be able to joke about it, and a lot of people do.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of people do.
I have gay friends on I raid with. I play World of Warcraft, and we raid Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and one of the healers that I heal with, his name's Pinkish, his game name, and he's gay. He's very openly gay. And he'll make jokes about it, oh, you're on top of me. He's like, oh, I'm always a top, and stuff like that. He'll make gay jokes like that, and that's you not taking yourself that seriously. That's being able to joke around and, make jokes towards you. Even granted, I think that in his eyes, I think that gay isn't that big of a deal, or at least maybe around us, because none of us give a shit that you're gay. Cool. I'm straight. In my eyes, those are the same.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why he jokes about it so freely with us, because maybe he won't do that in public or around somebody else. But having that attitude though, I think goes a long way, and I think that helps you not get offended by everything, and which I think is a huge issue right now.
Yeah.
Cancel culture is a real thing, and it's ruining people's lives. Look at Johnny Depp. He lost a huge fan base, a huge following. He got fired for Fantastic Beast. because Amber Heard claimed that he hit her.
Yeah, didn't she beat him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And ended up being reversed. He lost all of that. And then it turns out that, it was reversed.
Yeah. Well, there's several topics. There's several cases of, false accusations.
Sure.
But at the same time, it's like, well, the ones that are true, they're awful. So it's like, that's a whole nother thing. But I do want to just say, just to kind of touch on it, you said everyone should be able to make fun of themselves. I agree. I also think people have different sense of humor. Like you said, you have dark humor. And I would say I genuinely have dark humor as well as just bullshit, stupid humor. But so you're able to joke about, being suicidal and
Sure.
self-harm, which, if you're able to joke about that, cool. I think the point, and again, this is the point I'm going to draw from what you were saying. I would never be able to joke about when I was suicidal, and granted, I never self-harmed. Mine was more of an accumulation and then a one-time, oh, I'm going to do it, and then luckily I didn't, right?
Sure.
But what I take away from what you're saying is that you should be able to make fun of yourself in certain things, and for you, that might be as dark as what you make fun of yourself for. For me, maybe it's not that dark, but it's something else. Like maybe I can make fun of my height.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm not the tallest, as we all know.
Yeah, neither am I. I'm shorter than you.
You want to have a competition? Or I'm skinny. Whatever.
Yeah.
But point being...
I'm not saying to the caliber of suicide is the way
Yeah.
you should go. I'm not saying you should prod out your biggest trauma in your life.
Yeah.
I'm giving you an example.
Yeah.
It's just, it's making fun of yourself about anything, be it little or big. I think more people should be able to do that.
100% agree. One thing I did want to ask, and if you, again, like you told your friend, if you don't want to, shut it down instantly, but something I've always been curious, because I never understood it, and I see it on a lot of people, is the self-harm thing.
Sure.
So I have my idea of what I think it might be, but before I say that, I'd want to hear, why, if you can think of why you did that, why did you do that?
So, back when this all happened, I was suicidal before, so I wanted to kill myself, but I didn't want to do it to my family, and I was also scared. Obviously, I feel like most people are. So instead of taking the route of just ending it all, let me just punish myself for fucking up or doing something wrong, or because when that happened, I felt like I had fucked up really bad, and I was just I just didn't feel like it was there was I just felt immense pain, and I just didn't feel like in my mind I wanted to kill myself, but I couldn't do it, and so this was an outlet instead of it. Obviously I'd rather have done that than I did it all. But it's a release. It's for me, I know that for other people it's different. It's just some people snap a rubber band because it'll hurt, and then they'll feel like they feel better from the pain, and it's a weirder thing for them. Well, I guess it's different perspectives.
Yeah,
but,
sure.
for me, it was just I need to do something now, and this was more minor than what I at the time was thinking of, and it just felt when I did it, it felt relieved, which is really weird. Yeah, I don't know, because I don't actively replay that night or
Sure.
during the day ever. But it's just when you're in immense pain and you don't know what to do, and what the thought of what you want to do is something that you shouldn't do, and but you need some sort of release. Some people are just way better at handling it. Now I'm way better at handling it. Since this, I've never self-harmed.
Good.
Now what I do a lot is just work out. Usually I work out until I feel good about myself, and then I'll like stop and I'll take breaks, and then if I start feeling bad again, I'll go back, and then it's like that's what I do instead of self-harming. Like if I'm having a rough night, I'll just get out of bed and go to the gym. So now that I'm found better ways to cope with it, with like pain and stuff like that, than when I was younger. But yeah, that's for me at least. Self-harm was kind of more of a release.
So kind of like in your mind you wanted to kill yourself, but that was like the second best thing because you weren't sure if you were ready to do it. I just want to make sure I'm understanding it.
So I would say yeah. I would say that's a very good perspective of what happened.
So was it at all ever, because again this was what my original thought was, and again I didn't want to poison what it actually was for you, but just to see if it ever was like this for you, was it ever like I hate this word, cry for help?
It could be, because like I said, I didn't want to kill myself, but I felt like that's what I should do at the time. And so, because I would say it was, I don't know actually, because maybe it was just for like a release, and then once I felt better, like post-nut clarity, darker version.
Amen, brother.
So
Jesus.
So essentially, that's kind of like what it was. Because as soon as I was done, like I had like cut myself pretty deep, and my dad was at his girlfriend's house at the time, and as soon as I was done, I called him. I'm like, Dad, I fucked up. Like, I need you to come home. I cut myself, and it's pretty bad this time. And which I'm still, because he lived in he was in Wyandotte at the time.
Okay.
It was like
from Westland.
Yeah, so it was like a 35 minute drive, and he had gotten to the house in like 15-20 minutes.
Jesus.
Fucking no clue. But he had done it, and like and not only did he come back in that fast fucking time, he had gone to CVS to like get bandages and shit.
So having that reaction from him, how did that make you feel?
I mean, so my dad is a fucking superhero, if I'm being honest. Like, what he had to go through with not just me, with my other sisters, like the fact that he didn't rip his hair out or like go insane is mind blowing. So when I was literally on the floor crying, and I felt woozy. I don't know how much blood I lost, but I mean enough to make me feel woozy. And my dad had really wanted me to go to the hospital, and I'm like, I don't want to, because like if I go to the hospital, I'm going to like a mental institution, and I've gone once before for like thoughts of suicide that I had told my dad about, and I told him like moments after that, I'm like, if I ever have to do that again, if you that's a punishment, if that's what the end result is, I'm going to commit. I'm gonna fully commit and just finish it, because I'm not going back to that place.
So the mental war was that bad?
It's not that it was that bad. It's just like when you're there and you don't feel like you're crazy, like you feel like you belong there, like it's basically like a prison. You feel like you're like looked down on, or just being talked down to, and which isn't the point of the place. I know that, but like in my mind, that's how I felt. But yeah, so he ended up coming home. He was just talking to me normally, like as if nothing happened. He was like helping me clean up, and yeah, that was like the whole process of that. It was
So did that to you, like seeing that he was there quickly, he like didn't scold? Well, I guess I can't put myself in that situation, but did that kind of like, was that helpful to see his reaction, or was it like more like
so
guilty, like ridden?
He kind of he was just more of aware at that point of where I was at mentally, and like I said, my dad's a superhero. Like he helped me a lot get over it. Like he started help me with therapy. He helped me with like like, so like after that mental ward, we had I'm getting timelines a little mixed up, but it's around that time. He ended up just one weekend or during the week taking me and my sisters to the Great Wolf Lodge. Like, cause he's like, you know, you might just need a vacation. Like, you need to, you know, relieve your, you know,
go have fun.
Yeah, and like he just like I'm glad I am so open with my dad now. I tell him about everything that happens. Like I don't like because like he's not somebody who's going to treat you different like in a negative aspect for telling him something. Like I used to have a very toxic relationship with an ex-girlfriend, and I would tell him every time we were on or off, even though he did not like her. Like, because he wasn't going to say, no, she can't come to this family party because, you know, I'm not fond of her. Like, he would still, you know, be very civil with her, you know, make jokes with her and everything like that, like how my dad is. So the way he handled it made me way more open with him. So, in a way, it kind of opened his and I's relationship more. I mean, it's a very fucked up way to get there, but we got there.
Dude, not even to be like, you're like making me like water up, dude, because that sounds, well, okay, take this lightly. That sounds awesome. Not all what you just said, but like the fact that you can...
The whole cutting part was really cool. Yeah, I got that.
Yeah, okay. Don't rope me into your dark humor. But the point, like, the fact that, like, and I don't want to say this, like, I know there are people out there that, like, I could tell, like dark thoughts too and shit like that, and they would treat me the same, but you've actually done it. So, like, having somebody where you can literally just be like, here's my fucked up brain, here's what I'm thinking, please don't, you know, please just
don't
listen.
Don't turn
take
away,
it and then let it go out.
Because there's some people who've self-harmed and they're treated like a demon in their house.
Yeah.
And it's like, at that point, if that was me, I'm never telling you anything again.
Yeah,
That's
well,
it.
And it's not just the harm. I'm saying, like, anything. Like, maybe I don't know. I mean, obviously that's an extreme example, but it happens to people. But just, like, anything. Like, any thoughts I have that are shameful or anything I've done that's shameful, it's like, you don't, like, it's so hard to tell somebody that. So, for one, kudos to you for being able, because it sounds like through the whole time that you were struggling with these different things, you were open with your dad about it. Yep. So, I mean, that, for one, that is probably one of the toughest things to do. So the fact that you're able to do that, I think it really helps save you.
Yeah.
Possibly. I don't want to...
Yeah, no, my dad 100% saved my life.
But you took initiative of telling somebody, because that's the hardest fucking thing. So it's... Even though I've known you my whole life, and I, you know, from a third party kind of knew some struggles you went through, that gives me a whole fucking new sense of respect for you, because I haven't gone through half the shit that you did, and I still have a hard time telling anybody any shitty thought, because I want people to see me as, like, you know, good old boy, you know.
Sure, but like when it's coming like family,
yeah,
like they know who you are, regardless of whether you're gonna tell them or not. Like because they've like seen you in, you know, diapers, you know, whatever. They know everything.
Seen
about
my baby dick.
Yeah, exactly.
Back when I was a baby, and I still have one. Jesus. I realized that didn't hit well when I delivered it.
Hey, well, whatever.
Big cock. Scrap that. I'm just gonna cut that whole like 20-second clip.
Well, since you're cutting it, as what's funny is when we were younger, back when we were like we didn't know better. You and me, I don't know if you probably don't remember this, 'cause I barely remember this. We crossed streams in Mimi's.
What the fuck?
Yes. In Mimi's bathroom, because we both had to piss really badly, and
why don't we just go straight streams? Like, why did we have to cross the streams?
Because we were young.
Dude, I don't fucking remember that, but you know what? I'm gonna keep it in because people are gonna laugh at it. So whatever.
I don't care. Like, it doesn't bother me any bit. But
well, if it makes you feel any better, I don't remember what your baby dick looks like. So
very small.
Well,
it's probably why you couldn't remember it, because it just wasn't there.
It wasn't memorable. Well, actually, it'd be kind of concerning if as a baby you just had a fucking
Fucking baby arm.
Third arm, yeah. This podcast has just gone all over the rails.
Yeah.
Well, shit.
I think this is pretty much how I expected it to go.
Like
I told you, I'm very open.
Yeah.
I don't take myself seriously. So like something like a memory like that being told doesn't bother me if other people know.
No, it doesn't.
Or make jokes about it. Like I'm like, hey, yeah, I had a really good friend. Where's your good fucking friend story?
You wish you fucking cross streamed. The only reason you're making fun of me is because you didn't cross stream.
Exactly.
You want round 2 as an adult. Let's go right now.
What's wrong with crossing streams?
You know what?
A little homophobic?
I don't remember that, but I'm sure I fucking did it because it'd be more fucked up if it didn't happen, and that's just a weird memory in your brain. But
I remember it was because we were playing. I don't know why we went into Mimi's house though, but
dude, Mimi was OG.
She was R.I.P.
Dude, I fucking love Mimi. That was my grandma. No, but I appreciate I'll say your vulnerability because there's lots of times, and this is partially my fault of hosting this, but it's hard when people will come on and like, I know them, or at least I know a little bit about them, and there's things I want to ask them, and I just don't because out of fear of like, I don't want to make them feel so shitty. I don't want them to think I'm like trying to like get one up on them.
No, just literally how you spaced it. If at any point you feel uncomfortable with this question, we can cut. You tell them we can cut this out, and we can just not, pretend like this question was never asked.
Yeah,
but
that might just leave a bad taste, and then again.
But I think that's literally part of what your whole.
That's the point of this. That's the point of this.
It's not supposed to just be like, oh yeah, like I think blue's a better color. This is not it's not light topics. Like this is supposed to be like getting in people's heads and
I agree,
figuring it out. So like I think you're doing a disservice just from the experience that you want out of this.
I agree. It's just fucking hard because again, someone like you who's open, and also we have a good relationship where like I'm not trying to come for your neck.
Sure.
It's a little bit easier for me to feel comfortable.
I don't think anybody should be coming onto your thing if they think you're coming for their neck. Like
protect your necks.
I feel like if someone's coming on here, they should expect to be asked tough questions.
But I also want it to be a safe spot. Like, so a lot of people are not comfortable with talking. Like, and honestly, the first couple times it was weird hearing my voice. So people come over and they have anxiety and they're nervous to come on. It's like, well, if I know you have anxiety, I'm even less likely to ask you questions out of curiosity. But that's the thing, is like I'm really trying to lean into it with curiosity, and I've always wondered about self-harm, but I can't Google, hey, why do people self-harm?
Sure.
I mean, you could, but
I don't think
bullshit. It's also not gonna be as impactful of hearing it from somebody. But I've always wondered that, and now I have one opinion of it that I have desperately wanted to understand because I just didn't understand it, and I wanted to, and I don't know why, but
sure. Exactly how I wanted to understand, the issues are not issues. What's the word I'm thinking of? The struggles of being, a different color. Like I wanted to understand that.
Just the experiences of it in general.
It's just it gives you better insight, so you understand like people's mental process, which I also am a huge fan of. I'm a huge fan of understanding people's mental process and how they think or how they got to a certain point. So like to be able to ask those questions
that's the point. So I will put it in recording, so I hold myself accountable. I'm going to try to do more of that. Also, I think that's what will help people more, right? So not only do I want to learn from this, and I am curious, and I like yourself, I like to hear how people think, but also the reason I'm even publishing this is because I think a lot of hatred and silos and isolation can be maybe not fixed, because nothing's going to be fixed, but improved upon if we just talk about it and people listen to what people have to say and their opinions. That's all this is opinions. You're not saying anything with fact.
Sure.
So I'm going to try to do more of the hard asking questions. Don't let that scare you from coming on the podcast, but I really appreciated you coming on and being open.
No, absolutely. I appreciate being on here. It was, nice seeing you again too.
Well, before this turns into Brokeback Mountain, I always like to end with a mental health tip. So I always ask everybody to share something that they do, either like if they're feeling bad, and you maybe already touched on it, but elaborate, to what they do to kind of step back from that ledge, or just something that they do in their everyday lives to help them achieve good mental health. So I'd be curious to hear what yours is.
Yeah, I think working out is probably one of the best things to do. It like I've done both self-harm and I've worked out, and I like self-harm is a very immediate. I guess working out as well, but self-harm is a very immediate and easy way out, easy way to feel better. But working out, like you're stronger. You feel better after. You feel better about yourself after. And I feel like a lot of issues that you have, like if you're super depressed, a lot of the times you're viewing yourself as lesser of a person, or feel like you're just not worth a damn. And so if you work out, you're feeling better about yourself. You're looking better, and if you stick to it too, it just makes everything easier. Because you're not as self-conscious anymore. You have goals now, because you can set certain goals that you want to achieve at the gym, and another huge thing is when you are depressed or suicidal is you don't have any goals. You purposely do that. You purposely make no goals because you don't care. You're living day to day. So when you put yourself and have goals for the gym, which are pretty achievable goals, you can put them short term or long term. That helps. You have something to look forward to, and I think if you're depressed, having something to look forward to is huge. Be that working out or setting up plans, even if you feel like you're gonna back out on them. Having plans for each week is something that helps a lot too. As of recently, I've been semi not doing too hot with mentally, but the last couple of weeks I've had it's been a lot better because I've had things to look forward to, like this this podcast. I looked forward to doing this. I've since day one when you said on Snapchat, you asked if anybody would anybody listen to your podcast if that you started one. I immediately said I would.
Yeah, I appreciate the early support.
Of course. And so being able to do this, last week I had putt for my friend Alex's birthday. I had that to look forward to, and then I also had on Saturday night a drinking stream with my Australian friend and someone from Massachusetts. Things to look forward to is another thing.
Yeah.
So between working out and just having goals or something to look forward to, those are my two top things.
Yeah, I love that, and I would agree with honestly both of them. I think even if you're not depressed, setting attainable short-term goals that you can reach to keep you I think just as humans we need that.
Yeah.
So I like that tip. Thank you for sharing.
Of course.
This is the part where it gets awkward when I do the formalities closing. So anyway, thank you, Anthony, for coming on.
Of course.
If you
be on here.
Say what?
It's a pleasure to be on here.
Well, on certain episodes, I plan on doing special episodes so we can talk off air because I don't want to give too much away, but could have you come back on.
Sure.
But yeah, if you'd like to be a guest on this podcast, contact me somehow. The Instagram for this podcast is TIMM Podcast. Same thing for Facebook. I'm not fucking telling you the email because I have not received one email. Legitimately, besides from YouTube saying you signed up.
You gotta say it.
I'm not gonna.
What if that's how they want to reach out to you? What if this is the first one they see, and then that's how they want to reach out to you? You gotta keep doing it.
TIMMPod@gmail.com. If I don't get a fucking email, I'm coming for your next episode. I'm off the rails. Oh, I think by the time this one comes out, I think it's the last week to order the My Hood hoodies, t-shirts, baseball hats, or just fucking ball caps. Hats. Fucking hats. It's a good thing we talked about mental health because it's in partnership with the Children's Foundation. All of the proceeds, 100% of the profits, go directly towards the Children's Foundation to support children's mental health. The design was by Thomas Hamilton, who will be a guest on this podcast in a few months. And really what it was is we took all these things that people say they do for good mental health, and we put it into a brain because it's your brain.
Sure.
And so it's really kind of designed by the people, mastered by Thomas, put out there to order. And if you want to order it, you get a cool product, and all of the profit goes towards children's mental health. Sorry for making you sit through that awkward part.
It's pretty dope.
I'm excited. We've been working on this for a year. I've just been busy, but it's happening now. Because May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and if anyone knew that. So, with that, awesome. Thank you. Like, subscribe, all that jazz on all those shits, and write me a review and give me feedback. But until next week, guys, thank you.
I can only breathe.